in my journey of becoming a better ACB artist and just becoming better at posing my action figures in terms of photography. A lot of times I think the best way to learn is to just basically go through comic panels, you know what I mean, and see what's happening and what artists are doing and so forth, and try to although not always possible, try to pose your action figures in some of the panels you may see, especially stuff that isn't being done on a regular basis. So I was originally looking up Cable versus Deadpool, and this was for a contest that on Instagram that was being run by I'm horrible at remembering people's names, so forgive me, but it was being run by, and this is the picture I submitted, and the contest is being run by at Comic Figure. He just reached 1,500 followers, and is just running a little contest. So I just entered more than anything to support, a fellow community member and toy photographer. So yeah, so that was my entry, and this is it. So first and foremost, he is not leaning against anything, so he's definitely holding, somehow balancing Deadpool above his head, and he is not neither of the action figures. Not even, it looks like his hand is, but it really isn't. I originally threw those boxes back there though because I couldn't get him to stand, so I threw those boxes, back there, and then I was gonna lean him, and then I kind of started to try to balance it, and it balanced out perfectly, and then I wanted to take out the boxes so that it wouldn't look like I was using them to have these figures stand up. But yeah, no string. Somehow I was able to make it work. So the way this scene came together, obviously the inspiration was just from plugging in Cable versus Deadpool, and I couldn't find anything in a fight scene, because the theme of the contest was fighting, like a fight scene. So I couldn't find anything, but then I came across this and I said, this will be great, because that Wolverine, you can remove his claws, and so those are his claws right there. And then what I did is those claws that are up on Deadpool, now you can see the blue, I tried to hide it with the that's cheese wax, so I tried to hide it with that that cheese wax, but you can kind of see where the blue is, the sticky tack, to keep those nails. But then when I took the picture, I angled it in a way where you couldn't see the blue, and it just looks like Wolverine's claws are popping through Deadpool. Those claws are from recently I had chopped off the Astonishing Wolverine's claws, so I thought I threw them away, and then when I saw that, I was like, man, I really hope I did not throw away those claws, and I'm glad that I didn't. I had to cut them twice. The first time I cut them, they were too long, as it looked like his claws were way overextended, so I had to come back and take them all off and go through that whole process. In the picture, Deadpool has his head back even further, but obviously you can only go so far, and if I went a little bit, leaned it down a little bit more, then the neck just wouldn't, it looked off to me. So this is just the diorama that I had created, just a little corner 12 by 12 joint that I really like. It came out really cool, and I just threw a barrel that I had recently completed, which was just basically a regular one of those barrels that you get at the dollar store, and on the had written Dr. Wacky's, whatever it was, and so I sanded that off, and then sanded it all the way around, and then gave it a dry brush, and then I gave it a spray with that spray bottle that I've been using, that I've been putting the black in, so it kind of gave it that extra dirty look. That was the fence that I just had made with this diorama, and then just one of the palettes. Yeah, man. So I think it was definitely a challenging shot. I'm still not 100% happy with Wolverine's pose, but it's there's only so much you can do in terms of, for me anyway, at my level, so much you can do in terms of trying to balance Deadpool at that angle with his art, his back kind of arched back like that. But I think at the end I was definitely happy with the shot, and I just helped, again help to contribute to a community members contest, which is always cool. I've had a couple contests on Instagram. I did one as well for my 1,500 followers, and I think I did one for 1,000 followers. I actually gave away a diorama, and I plan to do. I'm gonna give away another diorama for my whenever I get to 2,000 followers, if I ever get to 2,000 followers on Instagram, as that's where I started my toy photography kind of started for me on Instagram, and I've been able to expand it now to Facebook first, and then YouTube second. So, and now I'm starting to kind of add some pictures to my Tumblr. Every once in a while I'll do it, and then I just won't pay attention to it for a long time, and then I'll do it again. But everything's under the same name. Everything's under either Al Figures or Al underscore Figures. And that's the other thing, is that I've noticed that I've tried to stay consistent with my names across all the platforms in terms of social media, just so that easy enough to find, specifically and especially for YouTube, because being part of the Dial Structure group, and as fast as that group is growing, and I'm real active in the group, and I'm always building. So a lot of times, I don't generally, I don't really push my YouTube channel on Dial Structure, on Facebook, or even on Instagram. I just, once in a while I'll mention that I have a YouTube channel, or I guess right, I have it set up so that whenever I post a new video on YouTube, there's a notification that goes up on Facebook, although it's not on my page. So I don't know where it just like disappears. I'll notice that usually Budget Jedi Ed is one of the first ones that likes it whenever it hits Facebook, and so that it pops up in my news feed. But I can never find where that gets recorded, because it doesn't get recorded on my page, which is a pretty interesting thing. But so I generally won't go on my Facebook page and say, "Hey, new video up," and I really don't know why. I think although it's all connected in terms of Al Figures and what I'm doing under that name, I also feel like it's kind of separate in some ways. I guess that doesn't make that much sense, but yeah, I just never felt the need or the want to push, everything I'm doing, and push it on every social media connection, and so I just put the videos out, and hopefully people find them, and it'll be helpful in terms of, especially in terms of building dioramas and so forth, as that has become one of my favorite things to do, and something that I do fairly consistent, and have been for some time now. So yeah, I definitely, at the end of the day, am still trying my best to practice posing these figures, because at the end of the day, again, you can have all these pretty dioramas, but if your posing's not working, then you need to improve on that, and that's where it kind of starts off. So I think that's fairly important, and then everything else kind of just adds to it, so whether it's the dioramas or the cutouts or what have you, but it starts off with posing your action figures correctly, and it's not always the easiest thing in the world, and I try to challenge myself and try to do these type of shots where they're not as easy. But yeah, so I just wanted to put this quick little video out there, and just share this, because I thought it came out pretty cool, man. It took me probably about 45 minutes to set up the claws, and kind of posing and everything, and start taking pictures, and took a whole bunch of different ones and different angles and all that other good stuff, but finally ended up posting it. So hope you guys enjoy. Peace. So we have the Saturday morning shenanigans happening here before I head to work. Came back actually interestingly enough, man, the way things work sometimes is, they're kind of cool. I had posted a picture last night, of this on ACBA, and George Barreto, cool dude, had mentioned that he had seen this in a comic book, and obviously yesterday's segment, I showed where I got the reference from. So what I did is, instead of just saying, "Hey George, yes, that's I just took the actual panel, and I put a picture of it on the same thread as the picture I put last night of the Deadpool and Wolverine you see in front of you, and I noticed that by putting that picture and comparing the two, above, the original picture was above, then the comic panel was below. I noticed that Deadpool's posing was way off. So I bent his leg, so now it flows more. Even yesterday I think I said that I didn't really like. There was something that I couldn't, and for whatever reason I didn't look back at the reference closely enough. And by having them two in the same, the reference picture and the actual picture, I saw the errors. So I bent Deadpool's neck back, tilted it back as far as I could go with it. Used his ab crunch as far as possible, and then bent that knee. So now it looks like more of a natural pose in terms of being stuck in Wolverine's claws. So anyway, fixed that this morning. Kind of busy morning because a couple things are happening, man. First and foremost, it looks like we're gonna be moving out of this apartment by the summer. So kind of sucks in that now I have to pack away all of this. Which has taken me a couple of years to like slowly build into it and fit stuff in. So now all this has to be packed away. And that kind of sucks. I don't even want to think about it, man, to be honest with you. It's such a perfect little space for this display. So I have to start packing, and so I need to also start creating space. A lot of times we generally for whatever reason, every few years we move, whether we always rent apartments. So sometimes they sell the house, other times the rent goes up to somebody else buys a property, and then the rent goes up too high, and so forth and so on. So we'll be moving soon. So a couple things I have to do is start packing those guys and think of a way I can do it so I don't damage them. And at one point I used to keep all the packaging, but not too long ago I threw away all the blister bubbles for the most part and just kept the backing. I still kept some of the packaging, so I still kept the backing. I like packaging, and so need to start doing that. I'm actually working on this. I sold this diorama a couple days ago, so I need to ship it. I had not sealed it. I'm delayed in shipping it just because I forgot to seal it. I don't seal my own dioramas for the most part because I'm extra careful with them. So I feel good, but I should seal them because they do get scratched. But anyway, I'm about to ship this off, and the glue came loose on that pipe. So what I did is I just put like a zip tie. I bought a whole bunch of zip ties the other day. So a lot of my tubings and pipings and all that good stuff, I'll be using zip ties going forward. I just think it's a good way to keep them connected, as the hot glue gun a lot of times won't adhere too well to the plastic and foam, so it'll get dislodged at some point. So I'm hoping that will secure that pipe. So I'm getting that ready to ship away. Had to customize that box because I couldn't find a big enough box for the 2-foot dial. And so I got that, so I got to pack that away. I also pulled out, man, a whole bunch of my sneakers, that I'm just going to sell. I started putting them on eBay a few days ago, 4 or 5 days ago. And I'm going to put them like 4 at a time. And, just to create space. I'm not doing the sneaker thing so much these days. And, especially getting more into action figures, it's easier to drop $20 on a figure and be cool than to drop 160, 170 bucks on a pair of sneakers that the quality level has gone down over the years. I just can't find it for it to be a something I want to do anyway. Invest my money in or put my money into is stuff that's not great quality. I'm always looking for good quality and stuff that's gonna last me for years. And so it's time to move from these. A lot of these are, oh man, within the last 10 years. Like those are the LeBron 2s, which meant he was in his second year in the NBA, and I think now he's in his 10th or 11th. But those are the All-Star Game special editions. They're wore them a couple times. They're not in the greatest condition. That's the other thing. All of these are used, but generally on eBay, people use sneakers. Not a big deal, especially from sneakerheads, because we keep them clean and we keep them you know, boxed up as you see here. So I'm putting those on eBay. And that's my workstation, man. Is a mess. You know, when I get back home, I need to clean that a little bit. And oh yeah, I didn't show you guys. I wanted to, but meant to put in a video, but I didn't. So I recently got some new to kind of organize my props, because my props game was kind of getting a little crazy. So I was able to get this cool little box, and it has some compartments, so I'm able to, you know, kind of keep, you know, stuff separate and easy to find. You know, like that's all the food stuff, or the bottles and coolers and all that good stuff, and you know, fire logs and what have you, some presents. So I bought this box for like, honestly, like 15 bucks, something like that. 12 bucks, under 15, and it came with that little one too. But it's kind of cool because I'm able to put my props in there, and then I'm able to also use the inside for some other props, which is kind of cool. So some of the, you know, oil drums or the garbage cans or what have you, pallets and chest and rocks and all that good stuff. And this little box came inside of the bigger one, and so I was able to do more of my weapons over here, and you know, just like the smaller, you know, the handguns and the smaller guns, and other type weapons, dynamite, all that good stuff. So I would, you know, was able to just make this kind of a, you know, just extra stuff. You know, we got like a mob and a broom, and Gambit's jacket, and E.T.'s jacket, and all that other good stuff, and just a bunch of random figures in here. This is like my collection of normal looking people. I'm gonna do a scene with normal looking people at some point. Yeah, so got that together. So that's kind of cool in that I'm moving. I can, you know, I'm able to kind of keep everything in one spot. Yeah, and then I have to finish up this dial, which I started, and I'm gonna work on that today. So I should be able to have most of that paint job, and that's a whole nother video. And just my other dial that sits on top of my CDs, and I need to put that away. All right, y'all. Peace.